Vamos lá, ó. Elige comenta a situação do NA, sugere mudança no map pool e avalia Liquid na IM Katowice.
Brasil para conversar com o Elige, jogador da Team Liquid, que estreou com vitória aqui na fase de grupos da IM Katowice, mas hoje saiu derrotado para a Nave. So Elige, I wanted to ask for you, how was the game today against Nave? It was pretty close maps, but what do you think it missed to Liquid to end up the series and win some games?
Well, in the first map, I think that we were just a little bit nervous. We were just making a lot of like individual mistakes, a lot of.
Que olho bonito do Elige, né, cara? Ó, mano, o cara tem um olho transparente, cara. Que diferente, né?
And you know, me included, so there was just like a lot of mistakes overall in the first map, and then in the second one, I feel like overall like we had them red for a while, but there was a point where it shifted and they understood like what map control they could take, and they had just a lot of pressure on us, and they were winning a lot of like the late round executes. So yeah.
Liquid show.
Mano, eu acho que o jogador do CS ele tá aprendendo com o jogador de futebol, velho. Eu acho que o jogador de CS tá aprendendo com o jogador de futebol. Os caras estão começando a falar, tipo, eu acho que a gente cometeu muitos erros, os caras colocaram muita pressão e aí a gente perdeu. É sempre assim, né? Você vai prestar atenção? Ó o Guga aí, salve Guga.
Those Anubis to play in the second map. You guys showed a really good game. How do you see the map pool nowadays?
I think the map pool it's just okay right now. I think that there's probably like 3 maps that I would think about removing. So it's not.
É foda, né? O Elige fala, eu acho que o map pool tá ok. Eu só removeria uns 3 mapas. Só removeria uns 3 mapas, mais ou menos. Só uns 3, mais ou menos. Que é tipo metade, tá ligado? Porra, Elige.
I think Anubis actually is a pretty good addition, though. I enjoy the map. I think that it's fun. I think that it's fun to like watch like as a viewer too. So, yeah, I think there needs to be some changes with some other maps, but yeah, it's not the worst.
Could you talk just a little bit more about those changes you in your opinion, would do?
Well, I think that Mirage is a little bit stale right now, but you can't really remove Mirage and Dusty at the same time, so you can't like.
Ô, Elige, a Mirage tá obsoleta porque você não tá jogando o matchmaking brasileiro, cara. Você não tá jogando os lobby aqui na plataforma líder, né? Se você jogar, você ia aprender uma coisa nova todo dia, cara.
Get rid of Mirage. Nuke, obviously, a lot of like top teams are playing right now. I think just like Vertigo and Ancient just are not very fun. I think that Vertigo is just a really not fun map at all to watch it. It's just like an A-ramp.
Ele é muito educado, né, velho?
So, I don't think there's anything fun about watching Vertigo, and like everything else. I mean,
Ele é muito educado, né? Ele fala, pô, não tem nada de divertido de assistir Vertigo. E a gente fala que, porra, esse mapa é uma merda.
I don't think Ancient's like that fun either, personally, but yeah, probably those 2 maps.
You guys started in the IM Katowice group stage with a win above IUGC. Could you talk a little more about this team that has beaten MIBR and Pain? Has beaten Pain and Furia in the groups in the play.
Yeah, they're not bad. Like they definitely are like a top 20 team. Like they're definitely playing like one.
You know, e HC, hein? Top 20.
Currently recording, they are playing against like Cloud9 and they won the first map, so you know, they're no joke. They obviously beat Furia. They're 1-up map against Cloud9.
E a Legião é God. Legião é God.
Overall, like they have a lot of really good things. They just need a lot more like diversity because they repeated a lot of like the same calls and they have like a very like confined strat book. So I think if they just
lidos, né? Caralho, mano. Já meteu. Eles têm um livro de estratégia, uma estratégia muito pequeno, né?
They're comfortable with. And like just like kept developing and expanding like that, like they're gonna keep improving and being a really good team. So it's definitely impressive.
You talked about those US that you don't like to set up expectations to a tournament. Being eliminated in the group stage would be kind of disappointing.
Yeah, it would definitely be disappointing if we lost. And yeah, I know that everyone's just gonna read that headline and just like immediately just start clacking away at something. But I mean, it's just like looking at it as if, you know, you look at a tournament and you say like what you want to get out from it. And whether you hit it or you don't, like if you hit it, obviously everything's fine. You're not gonna like even think about it. But if you don't, like it could be harder for some people to move past that. And I think that's the main thing that you want to just avoid, because there's really no point in like looking at a tournament before and being like, yeah, let's just make it like to some arbitrary like placing. You have to just take every match as it is and make sure that you're learning and improving as much as you
Não
can.
tô entendendo nada, ô Elige. Tá enrolando demais.
Liquid didn't had a good performance in the last spring groups. How you guys saw that tournament? How do you guys work it before, after it, and how you guys evolved coming to Katowice?
Yeah, so that tournament, we didn't have a lot of practice going into it. We only got like 4 or 5 days of practice because we started up really late. You know, it was like a really tough like end of the year schedule, and people, you know, we wanted to make sure that we're not getting burnt out, especially since our sites are for the major. So we were treating that tournament more as a boot camp, and we also were adding nuke. So there was just a lot of things that, you know, made it so we didn't have enough practice to be able to like do really well at that tournament, and like that's how we went into it. But obviously we were super unsatisfied with losing at that tournament like in the way that we did. So super not good result from us. And then coming into this tournament, we
Eu acabei de ver que eu tô no meio da legenda, cara. Eu tô no meio da legenda aí, velho. Perdão aí quem tá lendo a legenda, tá? Meu sincero perdão aí, velho.
had a couple days more boot camp, and we just focused on our good maps and trying to make sure that we were going to be winning our map pick of the series. And you know, so far it's been like pretty decent overall. Like obviously, like we lost 0-2 to Navi. I think that like we could have won on Anubis. We didn't have like a really good individual showing on Inferno. That kind of led to that loss. But you know, we still have more games to play, and we're going to try to do what we can here.
You in the now coming to the lower bracket. How is your confidence going into this lower bracket, playing for surviving the Katowice, and do you still believe in going to the playoffs?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a lot harder now. I believe that we're going to have to win 2 games, maybe 3. I think it's 2 though, and you know it's going to be a lot harder. There's a lot of really good teams that have to get out now, and I think that you know we're still like not quite there to be able to like win. Just thinking of like how much like time we've had so far, so we don't want to be like super unrealistic with those expectations. But I still think that we can make it out of groups. Even today, you know, we had the reads, we understand like what's going on, and it's just mainly like individual like decision making that like costed us in the first map. Second map, we just didn't like. I think that they kind of just like out stratted us in that one. I think they just figured it out like how they want to play in like the second part of the CT half for us. So it was just really difficult. But overall, I think that we're playing pretty good in like this.
Mano, a Liquid ganhou da FaZe, né, velho? E, mano, é um time que sempre tá ali brigando pra ser bom. Às vezes consegue, às vezes não consegue. Mas aí, mano, eu vou botar a questão, né? Tipo, é NA FaZe ou EU Liquid? Que eles ganharam legal da FaZe, né?
This tournament, I think that we can turn it around easily and
2-1 e pá.
steamrolling it forward and make it to the playoffs.
Going back to the EM Rio Major, we saw you crying a lot when you got eliminated. How frustrating it was for you being eliminated in the Legends stage?
It was really tough. You know, normally I don't get emotional, like especially like during tournaments, but I just felt like really bad, like when we had that loss, and you know all the fans are there and like they wanted to like see us like move forward and just like signing like the stuff. It just got me like super emotional. I was like feeling like a failure because obviously like we failed and you know failed the fans. So I was just feeling like really bad in that moment. I wish I didn't at the time, but you know it is what it is. I'm sure some people appreciate it. Some people are like, oh, what a baby.
Velho, eu acho que a derrota da Liquid foi um dos momentos mais tristes do Major, cara. Eu acho que só não foi mais triste pro brasileiro do que a derrota da Fúria, né? Tipo, o drop lá, emocionado. Mas, cara, o Elige... o Elige, do jeito que ele tava, mano, foi, tipo... Foi tocante, cara. E eu não simpatizo muito com o americano, não, hein? Americano pra mim é... Porra... Não gosto muito não, cara. Mas o Elige é God. E aí ele chorando me tocou.
Whatever. But you know, it is what it is, and hopefully like we do a lot better this year.
Nowadays there is a debate of between the Brazilian teams, between the Brazilian scenario.
Elige gritando na lã? Não, pô.
That are living
Ele é
in NA, coming back to Brazil,
gentleman.
since the training in this region is not that good. How do you think about it? Could you give your opinion?
I mean, I think that is pretty similar to how it was in like 2014, 2015. Obviously, there's not as many teams that there were in like that time period. And like the difficulty for like the teams that are just like playing primarily in NA is that like the top teams are traveling so much that like you might not even get to play against them, you know, because we're just traveling a lot, like us, Complexity, EG, depending on which team is out. So there's just not a lot of like consistent practice that can be relied on. So I mean, I think it makes sense if they
200 anos de
want to
entrevista, né,
live
velho?
in Brazil, and there's definitely a lot of good teams that are there that, you know, could warrant them staying. It would obviously be really nice if we could somehow get everyone together, but you know, the world is pretty big and latency doesn't allow for that.
Isso aí foi um recado pro Elon Musk, hein, cara? Ô, Elon Musk, você prometeu um ping 50 aí do Brasil pros Estados Unidos, cara. Tá todo mundo esperando do CS, tá? O cenário todo do CS aí tá esperando um ping 50 aí das internet diferente. Qual é o nome da internet do Elon Musk aí, cara? Como é? Esqueci, hein? Starlink, né? Starlink, né? Tá todo mundo esperando aí Starlink com 50 de ping, pô.
Pra você, qual foi o jogador?
Victor Porto com 2x2.
Aí foi foda, hein? Acabou já? Acabou, né?
Nice
Acabou.
if we could somehow get everyone
Os caras não
together,
deram nem
but,
um
you know, the
aviso,
world's
cara.
pretty
Acabou a
big
entrevista.
and
Vamos pro vídeo
latency
do Fê,
doesn't
então.
allow for